Hello, hello, hello. Who remembers that?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good day, good day, good day, good day, good day.
I remain your palatable host.
Palatable. God of mercy.
My name's
Don't please
remain.
no. Please no.
You know, there's a friskiness to my voice.
God of mercy. No, there is no friskiness anywhere.
I'm excited to be in your space today.
Sound like a radio host. All those
Yes,
5
yes,
a.m.
like, since finally my voice is getting some needed, buzz and depth, and she's
Don't worry, we appreciate you like that.
she's doing as if she does not love her, but
You
get. So this I'm going to speak throughout this
No.
episode.
Until the thing enter body.
All right. Good afternoon, guys. Good evening. Good morning.
Good day. Welcome.
Good morning, my neighbors.
Good morning, my neighbors.
How are you doing? How you doing? Oh, gigi, gigi, Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Good morning.
How is life
Good day.
doing us? Good day. Ain't you in Canada?
What's with you and Canada, dude? Last episode to Canada. Today, Canada.
Ain't me ni Morocco, ká gbọ́ wọn yín gẹ́gẹ́. Ain't me ni Germany, ká gbọ́ wọn
Germany.
Not here Fuji. Ain't me ni Europe. Nígbà tí mo lọ sí Belgium,
Hey,
ní London. Wọ́n ní ká lọ sí Transfaga, Wolverhampton.
Tell you say.
Wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ wọ́n ń gbọ́ mi gan. Wọ́n ń gbọ́ gòrèlé wọ́n ń gbọ́ mi gan.
You're welcome, everybody. This is episode 2 of Redefinition.
Redefinitions. We're so excited to be in your space. My name remains Akorede Zakaria.
God bless you for not saying my name's R.
My name's R.
Oh God! I already said God bless. I should retrieve
You
it. back.
can't retrieve it. Would God bless, no man can curse. Yeah, and I have with me the delectable,
Oh God of
the
mercy.
sumptuous, the aforementioned.
Nobody will believe that you studied English in school, though. Let me stop you.
The lovely, the pretty, the anointed, the burden bearer, the intercessor.
True.
The sonorous voice, the soothing voice,
Yes.
the mother of 3 excellent, glorious, blessed, amazing children, the wife, the entrepreneur, the CEO. Oh my God. Should I keep going? The prophetess. Arati, Pasu, Ololade Zachariah.
Ololade Aishat.
Aisha to Dean Zachariah.
Aishat.
My fear is that some people just have logged off all this shit. But you see, you need to appreciate the joy and, let it smell. Hey, let's get to the business of the day.
Today we'll be talking about. I think last week was it last week? Last episode was the first episode of season 3. What am I?
Keep going.
Last week was the first episode of season 3, and it was amazing. I think it was really good. We talked about relationships, relationships, the different kinds of relationships, and I think that Cordy did a very beautiful, fantastic job of setting the foundation of what we're talking about. And so his relationships across board. It's not just the marital.
It's not boyfriend and girlfriend.
Lovers
It's not dating.
It's not just.
What am I calling?
It's not just
marriage.
Right? I'm sure we'll still get there.
We're
right?
going together.
Right, but the foundation that Credit laid last week,
we laid actually.
The foundation that we laid last was that relationships are very, 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 very critical to our existence and our journey, and so today will be.
Now I said the excellent signature of God.
Oh my God!
The excellent signature of God in our lives is woven by the relationships that You know, we.
This
I-
voice,
I-
please,
you
can you
know,
speak properly? Speak normally,
I've told you
please.
this is how we talk today. We hear what are you talking about? I think you discovering.
Oh
You
my
know, we
God.
bless God.
Please
Glory to
speak
God.
properly, I beg.
Glory to God.
Anyway, so I think that today we're going to be delving deeper into the conversation on relationships. And we want to talk about what are the three things that you itemized?
So, you get born into a family, then you make friendships, then you become a follower before you become a leader.
Right.
So, we're doing family, friendships, and followership.
Yes.
Yeah,
All in this episode?
I doubt it. Because we might get. I think one thing that season 3 would really, really show is a lot of vulnerability on my side. You know,
Please, can we?
a lot of vulnerability on my side. So I'm not sure we can get past family today, but if we
Right.
can, we would. So, but the entire season is going to be about relationships.
The entire season?
I think so. Yeah,
10 episodes?
10 episodes. Like I want. Again, I'm borrowing from my pastor. Your life will not remain the same. I'm telling you.
I am.
I am fire. Glory to God.
Oh
So,
my God.
so your life is not going to remain the same. I think that again, we really want to give, or I really want to give a lot in this regard, so that I cover as much as as we can. So again, of course, you know the way we are now. We might get to episode 5 and then something else comes up that we want to take. But I would love to just stay on relationships. And the way the conversations always go is you can enter through one door and
Yeah.
go through another.
Yeah.
So it's fine. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
And you'll find it useful for yourself, and even more importantly, I'm sure you would be able to put this in someone's hand and say, "Hi, you need to listen to these guys." I'm not sharing going serious, but somewhere in between, they learned something useful. So, Ladi, today we want to talk about family.
Family.
Tell us about your family background.
Oh.
If you know what I have in store for you,
What do you
today.
have?
Tell me yourself.
My God's my defender.
Allah Sikita.
You are the defender.
We have started almost 10 minutes. You're still
We have
singing.
started. It's good. We're blessing somebody like this. You don't know.
Yes, I believe.
So my family, I come from a family of 3 kids.
4 actually.
Well, my mom has 3 girls. My dad has 4. I have a stepsister, but we're all girls, right? So I grew up in a family of all girls. My mom's an amazing woman. She's a pharmacist. She's a believer, which is like the
It's a prayer warrior.
biggest thing about her, right?
Shout out to Mommy Giwa, the best mother-in-law you can ever ask for.
I'm telling you. So yeah, my mom amazing. My sisters. I'm the middle child, even though I don't have the typical characteristics or behavior
Of
the middle child. For example, I'm not like Judah. Like Judah is tough. I'm like very sweet and calm and reserved, right? What else about my family? Oh, my dad. We didn't really grow up with him like that. He wasn't around all the time. He lived in Abuja. He's late now. I think that's a brief overview.
Okay, so I come from the Zacharias family. We have 5 boys. We used to have a sister, and she died when I was 14. So 5 boys. So it was pretty rough growing up. And then my mom also picked up the slack mostly. My dad left somewhat. And like all this, you know, if I had a sister and she was a feminist, I won't be upset. So, but my dad left. My dad is also late, passed on last year. So my dad left. I mean, founded another another family. Yes,
He founded another
it's funny.
church.
He went
Founded
to
another
he went to
family.
Shomolu and founded a family there. So I used to have 3 siblings from there, but one of my stepbrothers passed, so I have 2 siblings from there, and then we have 5 from my mom, which are my brothers. Yeah, and one of the first things to say is that you don't choose your family.
Yeah.
I think it's a common knowledge, but many times we act.
A common saying.
It's a common saying, but we don't. The importance of it does not really sink. We don't choose the family we come from. Nobody got to choose. There was like, if you were born into so and so, they mentioned billionaires. So like, oh, nah. You don't choose that. If you were born into that family, you won't be you.
Yeah.
And it's important to appreciate that. And so, who chose it? If I didn't choose it, who chose it? God did. I don't. Again, one of the things we're always afraid to have very honest conversations with the Lord.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like, to say, God, you're not seeing this thing right, too. I always tell people, you don't get to question God,
But you can ask.
but you can ask him questions, and you can ask him questions that almost look as though you're questioning him.
Can ask him tough questions. He's not afraid of your tough questions.
Yeah, God. In fact, there are many things we won't get clarity on without asking him those tough questions.
Right.
I figured that in my own life, every time I had to say, ask God a very tough question, he answers me almost instantaneously.
Okay.
I was dating, following one girl up and down, and people were telling me about, you have to hear from God, I wonder, it's like, after emotion and everything, I was in love. I was sold out. I was sold out to Jesus. I was sold out to this baby. And I said, where is it even written in the Bible that I must hear you? As I said, in my heart, where is it even written in the Bible that I must hear you? What are you telling me? And then I just, pam. And the Lord said, but it is written that you should do my will. You get, and that was, you can't make that up, right? So most times, for most of us, because statistically, when I look at it and I look at my friends and I look at the people I grew up with, almost all of us have daddy issues.
Yeah.
The number of children that have daddy issues is like 90%. If you were born from 1980 downwards, man, and you're old enough to listen to this podcast, if you don't have daddy issues,
You are blessed.
you are blessed. And if you check, if you have 10 friends, I'll put my money on it that 6 to 7 of them have daddy issues at different degrees, right? If you ask them, would you want your husband to be like your dad to your kids? Most women will say no, right? And most guys will also say no. So somehow, and we can look at the social constructs that enabled that.
Yeah.
Right. And because some of these things, when you're grown enough, you start to look back and you kind of cut them some slack.
Yeah. You have some understanding.
Yeah, you have some, like, you cut them some slack. Like, it's not like that they didn't mess up, but you just have a broader appreciation of where they were, and if you're honest enough, you know that if you were born at that time, you probably would be worse than they are, even without faith or without the knowledge that you have. What most of us don't appreciate is our knowledge of parenting is very Western.
Okay.
Our knowledge of parenting is actually very
our
Western.
Knowledge, not our experience.
Our knowledge, not our experience.
Okay.
Our experience is half Western, half traditional.
How so?
You got to sit on your daddy's lap. Your dad never got to sit on his own daddy's lap. You got to, like.
Do you mean we or our kids?
We. Or yeah. So
you're not a young man anymore.
no, but I'm saying, like, yes, we.
Okay.
Like the experience you had with your dad, the same way our children's experience with us is so different,
Different,
from our
right.
experience with our father. It's the same way our
Oh,
father's
okay.
experience with us is so different
Oh,
from
okay.
their own experience with their fathers.
So if you look at it that way, then they also moved. At least a lot of
No,
them,
they
a
moved.
number
They,
of them.
they moved big
Right.
time.
Right. Okay. I
They
see.
moved big time.
They made adjustments
Yes.
based on their own experience and say,
Yes.
okay, this should change. This should. Some of them, or not all of them.
Some of them, yeah, and to a good degree, many of them actually.
Okay.
They sent us to school, for example.
Right. Okay.
We didn't walk 12 miles to go to
Yeah,
school when they
yeah.
had money. You know, there
Yeah.
were rich men then that their children would walk 5 villages to school to have money. Like there were men that were rich enough to build skyscrapers even today, those days that they didn't send their daughters to school.
True. Okay, I see where you're going.
And then if you check the experiences of those men to their own fathers, I thank God I did not sell you as a slave. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you start to see that generations to generations, like there are a lot of modifications to parenting as we go. But the point I'm making is this: most of the time, the first relationships, and which is mostly definitive of how we view life and how we view people, we got it from our families.
Right.
Right. And one of the challenges is that we start to navigate life with that accidental, because you see, you didn't choose that one. You don't get to choose that one. You didn't choose your father. You didn't choose your mom. You don't get to choose your brothers. You didn't choose your uncle that came to stay with you. You didn't choose all those things. And all those things are just poured into your life. They're like cards that you get played.
Yeah.
And many times, a lot of us are stuck in the hands that we were dealt. Right. And many of it actually even creates ceilings for us. For me, for example, meeting Jesus and being born again was a monumental shift in every regard. And one of the main places it actually affected was my relationship with my
your
family.
Right.
Now, some people you were born into a Christian home, so you probably, and maybe your salvation experience was somewhat gradual, or you're probably even in a place where you're still asking questions around faith. You get, so you're left with just the raw material. And what do I do with this? Right. Especially if the experiences weren't the most pleasant.
So now that leads me into, I was going to ask a question. It just seems like the elephant in the room at the moment.
Yes.
Right. I feel like this will be on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
Is that if you say that, which is true, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose my family. I didn't choose this experience that I got thrown into, right? And if it's accidental, like it's more like predestined, right? Why should I? And then you say, okay, who chose it? Then it's God, right?
Yeah.
But my experience with this thing that I did not choose has not been pleasant, or has not been good, or has been very bad, or very terrible.
Yes.
One, why would God put me in this kind of situation?
Okay.
Two, why should I follow? Because it just seems like, does he really know what he's doing?
Yeah.
You understand? If he will put me in this kind of situation, so why should I follow him?
So the point is this: when you're put into those situations, remember, the situation wasn't caused by God. So again, we always have to separate that.
Right.
God is good. Everything he made was good. But men are fallen.
Yeah.
The enemy is around. So that's one. Number two is this: God, many times we don't, which is the beautiful part of working with the Lord is, especially for born again believers, we feel like we started working with him when we got born again, right? But God didn't start working with us when we got born again. Like God is very, very much invested in all the moments of our lives.
Yeah.
And he makes it all come full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a journey.
Yeah.
So then I think that's the challenge. It's the fact that if you're watching a movie, for example, and someone is going to win the cup, right? It depends on the part of the movie that sometimes life is almost like when the actor's child got stolen. If you're watching, what's that movie?
Extraction.
Transporter, Extraction, or Taken, exactly. We like that part where the guy calls and says,
I will find you.
Like, if you drop her, it's like, wherever you are, I'll find you. We like that gang action. But there's that part where the daughter was taken that we don't like. And You see, the beautiful thing is, and you need to realize that God sees from a bird's an eagle view. God sees the full picture,
Yeah.
and many times we are locked in just a very very scrunched up context, and that's what the enemy actually does, where you it doesn't allow you see anything beyond that. So I'll give you an example. I said this season is going to be very vulnerable. My dad was at a point in his life like an alcoholic. Like, you know, I I used to have a neighbor since I went to school together, and I used to remember waking up around 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to my dad's footstep by the door, coming back from the bar where he had drank all night.
Wow.
And my friend upstairs, Chima, I know would wake up around 6:30 to wash his dad's car. And in my mind, it's like, I used to feel so, like, it was just, it broke me. Do you understand? So it's one of the reasons why I don't like alcohol. Like, it's like, even if I became born again, I never drank. I hated just that idea. You get, and you're asking yourself, does God see all this? Right? But you see, after I got born again, one day I sat down and I realized that every step of my journey was planned. Like, I could see how God met me based on the history. And, and after a while, of course, things probably got a little better between us, you get. And one day I got to ask my dad, like, give me my family history. Like, where did we come from? And then it gave me like a 300-year history. And that day, I loved Jesus more. Because I'm like, the 300-year history, I was the first to meet Jesus.
Wow.
Like, it's talking migration from like another part of Nigeria to the western part of Nigeria, like a 300-400-year history, how they got to settle where they settled, how that place became theirs, how the place was named after them, his great grand uncle, his dad, all that, for me to get to the point where we're living in Ogba. Then somehow we got got an apartment in Omole. Then we moved to Omole. Then moving to Omole. Then I loved football. Then I met my friend Uncle Wale that loves football. I would go to his house. The house was like that place got incubated for me. Just seeing that, oh man, there's a new life somewhere.
Yeah.
Then going to his church, then meeting Pastor Tunji, then he preaches, then I got saved, then I went home, then my brother got saved. Now, you just
can
see
the movement,
and the trackings that God had. And that's one of the things that I want to plead with us, especially if you're coming from a background and that family relationship hurts you. It's put it in God's hand.
Yeah.
Right? Be patient with the Lord. Let him show you perspective. You would realize that, man, this guy writes the best script.
Yeah.
God writes the best script. And like, think of Joseph, for example. How do you reckon the fact that my brother sold me to slavery? How? That my own brothers, who I was actually going to check upon their welfare. Like, Jacob says to Joseph, go and check how your brothers are faring. So I'm going in their service, and they nabbed me, and they stripped me naked, and they were going to kill me. And then one of them said, let's throw him into a pit. Then I got thrown into a pit. And that was going to come back to save me. But then before he got in there, they took me and they sold me to a slave caravan. Now, the thing about slave caravans is if the slave master buys 200 slaves on the journey, most likely he would get to his destination with 50 or 100. So they buy a lot. They buy very cheap because many of them will die along the way.
Yeah.
Because when you get injured, they'll leave you. Remember the story of David when the Amalekites went and then they said, I was sick. So one of the people that attacked them said, I was sick and my master left me here to die. And then they fed him and said, why did you guys do like this? And then, So you need to realize that, and then he goes, and then he would be like, man, I'm a prince, I'm the prince of Israel, right? We carry the covenant.
Yeah.
You look at yourself and you know
Yeah.
that sometimes you feel like,
This should not be happening
if
to me.
with the brain that God
Yeah,
gave me, if
yeah.
only I came from another family like
Yeah,
this, aye,
yeah.
with my brilliance, maybe I
Yeah.
have music. I think I'm one guy that cannot sing. Maybe look at DJ Copy, for example. Like, if my father was that rich, the way I go down blow, you know. You look like David was it's not because his father had money. It's not like we have talent like that. Like, we have talent. Like, you just say all that. You don't. And the truth is, number one, no one has an advantage. It looks like people have advantages, but nobody actually has an advantage. Because God is the determinant. So whether they are born in a rich home or a poor home, and all that, the main thing is, across your journey, do you find Him?
Yeah. And I want to pray, to say that, because this thing mentally or logically is difficult to accept.
Absolutely.
Because again, there's how your life experiences can be so much in your face, which is another thing that the devil does.
Yes.
Keeps it so much in your face that you can't see anything else. And it's difficult to see God.
Yeah.
And so I want to pray that today you will see God.
Absolutely.
As you're hearing this, that God will take your eyes from your experiences and your past and all of that, and you will see Him.
Yes.
You will see that He's good. You will have a knowing inside of you, that God
Absolutely.
is good.
I was listening to a clip this week, and a lady was talking, and I need to go and watch the full thing. I mean, she was talking around grief. Her dad was killed, her mom died. And then she said one day, she had just had it. And in her mind, she said, Lord, I just need a hug. I wish my mom was here. I need that motherly hug.
Yeah.
And then she goes to her business, normal day, and then there's a woman, she does not know the woman, and after, I think she was selling, and then after the sale was done, the woman was walking, and the woman turned back and said, the Lord said I should give you a hug. And then the woman did not even allow her to see anything, and just hugged her, just drew her in and just held her and hugged her. And then the woman left. And so she was like, she was shocked. I'm saying to you that even though our existence starts here in that family, but the truth is our existence did not actually start here.
Yeah.
We have our Heavenly Father's position was created before our earthly father's position. And that's why our Heavenly Father is sure that wherever it is that He places us, He is more than able to bring us to an expected end.
Exactly. And I was going to say that, there's how there's that scripture that talks about God working everything for our good to those who love Him and to those who are called according to His purpose, right? So is that when God turns your heart to see Him, what He would then do, which is something that He has already done and already planned and already worked out, is that as you journey with Him and as you go with Him, you would then realize that every single thing is as though they would put it in a container, and what will come out of it will be good. You
realize that's actually to your advantage.
Exactly.
And it's hard to find out, how is my brother selling me an advantage?
Yeah.
How is my brother selling? How is my last Judas betraying me an advantage? And in God, that is framed. And one thing that I also want to talk to is, you see, you have to be careful with modern philosophies and modern ideologies, right? So modern ideologies, what they do is they give you a reprieve, but that offers nothing at the end of the day.
There's no lasting...
there's no life in it. There's no God in it. So you have conversations around... See, be careful of activist positions. Be careful of people that appeal to your mind alone, but they don't appeal to your spirit. They don't appeal to that core on your inside. People that tell you justice. See, the world is flawed, including you. So the world finding justice amongst the world is it's like cultism. Two boys are dancing in a club, dancing. And then one boy eyes a girl. He does not know that another boy brought her to the club. He does not honestly know, so he pulls the girl, and he's a Jew man, maybe he's color yellow, and he pulls the girl, and then realizes that the guy in black says we cannot stand this disrespect, and they push each other, and then the next day, now look at how small that is. Then it starts to graduate. But where I'm going is the next day they get into a fight, bottle is broken, knife is removed, someone is stabbed, someone dies. Now, from just that small thing, someone is dead. Now, the sense of justice is they've killed one of them, we have to kill one of them.
Yeah, and that's how.
So they then come and kill Ogbonnaya. Now, Ogbonnaya unfortunately has a brother in the cult.
Exactly.
Ogbonnaya's brother does not care whether we killed you first. The point is you could have killed someone else, not my brother. But now I must do justice for my brother. Then he kills. Then the circle. What we need is someone that takes the blame, right? That is not the only person that breaks the circle is someone that is not guilty, but takes the price. Yeah, which is what Jesus did. Yeah. So that's how God solves the problems in the world. Is that he sent his guiltless son, he who knew no sin, to be sin, to say, okay, what your dad didn't do, and what your dad did that was wrong, put it on me. Yeah. And you find that the gospel is actually very, very most useful within that family context, because it's something for someone to betray you on the outside. Like, my friend, like maybe I didn't. You know, but this was like, it wasn't my fault. Now. Yeah. Why person go born me just come on house? Why person go born me go to be my mama? Why my mama could just not like me? You know, some people. I have a friend who tells me all the time, like my mom just tell me I'm ugly. Or why would my siblings just hate me? Yeah. Why would my siblings? I was talking to a friend yesterday. I was talking about how his brother was hurt at him for choosing what he wanted to do. Do you understand? Like, why? Do you understand? And those gaps are all there. Yeah. And the person that says, put it on me, is your God. God says, put it on me. Now, the world does not offer you that. The world says, take your pound of flesh.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a lie, because what happens is you become a bad parent too.
Exactly. So the circle just continues.
Keeps going.
Just continues.
So you say, oh, my father was...
Sorry, it's just like when we're in boarding house. Yeah. That you as a junior, you're maltreated as a junior, and you just can't wait.
It's like, exactly.
You can't wait. Because when you're a senior, you do the same thing. But it's just that you're continuing, that thing just goes on for years. I know someone that said, I will slap you. You're telling his wife, I will slap you. You try it, I'll slap you. My father slapped my mother, I will slap you. Okay. That's on one side. Another person, he can't even bring himself to any form of discipline in his house because he doesn't want to be like his father. Wow. You can fall in that any which way. And they are both equally bad. You both equally destroy the life of the children that you have. Yeah. Have you seen parents like their children literally work on them? Literally. And you know that, see, I'm not even saying that he's disrespecting you. I'm saying that this person, with the way you are training this person will find it difficult to hold relationships, and they will be hurt. So you see that circle. So that's where God comes in, where God says, see, put it on me. Yeah. Jesus says, put it on me. Yeah. You have to put it on. You have to see him. And he pays. The Bible says he will not owe you. I'm telling you. The guy they owe. I'm telling you. So the guy said to Joseph, put it on me. And so at the end of Joseph's life, remember, not at the end of his life, when his brothers came and all of that, and he said, and they were really, like, oh, we're so sorry, we did this, we did that. And then Joseph said that you meant it for evil. But God meant it for good. So that means so for me, that statement makes me realize that as much as we usually count God out of it, except we want to blame him. Yes. You understand? Yeah. The only time we bring God into this situation is when we want to blame him for the things that happen. Yeah. But aside that, we count him out of it. Yeah. But God has in the midst of all that, of all that's happening, he has a plan, he has a meaning, he has a desire, he has an intention. Someone said, one of our pastors in the past say that God has the biggest stake in your life. Exactly. How you need to let that sink in.
this thing you want to turn out well, more than you want it
More
to turn
than-
out
yeah,
well. God wants it
yeah,
to turn out, and
yeah.
He's very vested in
Yeah.
it. You know, and that's important. So again, I've used that to talk about hurtful scenarios.
Yeah.
And you can place any and everything on that: abuse,
Yeah.
neglect, you know,
So I have an example. I just remember
Yeah.
there's one of the girls I used to talk to, and then she really struggled a lot. Talking to her, I realized that she had a lot of abandonment issues. Right, parents left. Just imagine your father and your mother leaving you with a family member. Went to grandma's place, family house. One after the other, everybody leaves. She's left with her grandma. After a while, grandma dies. Grandma dies in just she and grandma was sick, and she took care of the grandma, and the grandma died
Wow.
with her in the house. Did you get?
Wow.
So you can imagine all of that happened, and then she was really just imagine
Yeah.
the result of that. She was very young, maybe like 20 or so by the time I thought 18 or something. And then, but what I realized was, with all of this, so imagine someone without any parental supervision. Everybody's just living their own life. She's just living her own life. You get just fortunate to be in a house. When those ones, she will move somewhere. When those ones move somewhere. Imagine that kind of person not being wayward. Do you understand? And I told her that God has kept you. And then she met God maybe when she was 14 or 13. I mean, like proper born again, not even. I'm like, even people that are believers in their father's houses, they don't meet God as early as you met him.
Yeah.
So as she journeyed and went through all of that she went through, I could literally see the hand of the Lord guiding and shielding her.
Yeah.
Peculiarly because of her. You know.
And if you then on the other side where you've not seen that hand and you've been left to the wolves and they've ravaged you in court, again, if you would trust him with it, if you would challenge him, don't just trust. I don't want to like, oh Lord, I trust. Like, Oga, come and
put it
fix.
to him, yeah.
Put it on his tab. Like, see, and and do not. One of the things I say is this: don't never negotiate your destiny, regardless. Like, he has enough to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, and all that, and so Jesus takes it on, and that's one side of it. So you've been hurt, you've been abandoned, you've had all that. There's still game.
Yeah. Game Shiwa.
Game Shiwa. There's still game.
It's not the end of the. It's not the end of the line.
And then so that's one side. But then how do we enjoy family? Because one of the weirdest thing I also find is it always strikes me when like siblings are not close. And I'm like, especially when they're like proper people.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
When I see something, I was asking one of my guys. I said, "Alpha, your brother?" I said, "Brother." I asked me, "Alpha, your brother?" Wait, I said, "Is he born again?" He said, "Yes, he is." "Is he correct?" "Yes, he is." "But you don't have a close relationship." He said, "I don't." It's like, why? I said, no. So here's the thing. A lot of people take family for granted.
Yeah, very true.
I see, and when we say people take family for granted, what you are thinking is they borrow money and they don't return it. No, that's what I'm saying. Come out of there now. It's not that they borrowed your money, they did not return it, then they wore your shoe, you did not wash it back, you know. That's not, those are like, your friends will do that, many people will do that. Let's leave that one. I mean that for most of us, our siblings are our resources. So usually what happens that people meet people outside and they get blown away by what, you know. I was like, my very good friend, we went to eat like 2 days ago. And he's always saying this and he says it all the time. Like he said the first time, like he had known me maybe he had heard about me, had met me. But one day we were just talking, I just realized that I said something that was profound. And I was like, boy. And his mind said, it's just maybe the way he said, the clock is right, so I say this.
Oh my God.
I said, we kept talking. I said another thing. He said he was shocked. He went telling me, oh, that boy gets something. No. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That wow factor because we got familiar with it. We don't know how to utilize.
Yeah.
My mentors, I have a mentor and then he has a sibling, and he went through some rough patches in his life. And I knew why. Because for the life of me, I'll leave my house to come and sleep in your house so that I can get from your brother.
Well, you know value.
But you don't be going.
You
Like,
know value, yeah.
I'm like, guy,
Yeah.
so people are coming from outside
to
to
tap from
repair
this,
their
exactly.
life here.
Yeah.
And you are from here going and you're making such choices. Like, so that's another thing I want to say. And I'm hoping that people that listen to us we need to honor,
Yeah.
value, be blown away,
Yeah.
and utilize
Yeah.
those things that are ours.
I feel like for me personally, I think my mom was the one that started this work early in us. So she used to always, and if you notice she and her siblings, before the recent brouhaha that occurred, right? But she and her siblings were actually quite close, right? So she always used to say when we were growing up, again, 3 girls, maybe my older sister is 2 years older than me, I'm 3 years older than my younger sister. She always used to say that you have to take care of your sister. So imagine hearing this every single day. It wasn't that, the older one has to take care of her younger ones. No. It's that she would tell Titi, you have to take care of your sisters. She would tell Biola, you have to. She would tell me, you have to. She would say that your sisters are, this is God's initial blessing to you. Before you meet friends, before you meet pastors, before you meet all those people. And then it's an added blessing when they're not born again.
Yeah.
It takes it to another
even when
level.
they are not born again.
Like, as I said, it's an added blessing.
I want to throw a spanner.
Right.
So all these church things that makes you not
regard
attend family functions.
For family is important. I don't know why.
All this church program, you're always having church program. You will not.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you. No, I'm serious.
Oh my God.
When I met you, like the first time I remember talking to you, it was around your relationship with your elder sister.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one you remember.
That's the first time I remember talking
myself,
to you.
I don't even know why. Like, and I think that God really, really used you. I feel like in that simple conversation that you had with me, God used you to repair something that would have just been a mess. And looking at now how close we are and how we've been able to be there for each other, I really appreciate that conversation. And it was like when we're in second, I don't even know how, I don't know what happened. Maybe it's just small offenses that just stayed and festered, right? I just stopped. I didn't talk to my sister. I didn't like her. My older sister.
Yeah.
We are very different, as you can see. She's like all
bubbly.
And because me, I'm very reserved. I think the initial thing was I felt like she used to take all of my mom's attention, and it was only my mom that we had.
Yeah.
If it was 2 parents now, if she goes to my, I'll go to the second one. But it was only my mom, and I remember there was a particular one I still remember it till today. My mom came to visit us. We were both in the same school, and my mom came to visit, right? And they were sort of like walking in front. I just pulled back a little. I really wanted to talk to my mom. There was stuff that was happening that I wanted to share with her. But my sister, and my mom knew because she's like me, we're alike. So she knew. So she kept turning to me. But my sister was taking up all of her with her own gist. And so she was like, but myself was just myself. So I pulled back and I think I was really hurt by that. Like, babe, sometimes give me some space, you know? And all of that. Then just some other, they gave her money for all of us. She spent it, things like I just started having in my mind that she's not really a good person, kind of thing. And then maybe she doesn't really have her back the way my mom used to say and all of that. And then as I didn't used to talk to. So imagine in school, imagine a whole school, you have siblings, and they just thought that people thought that we just had the same surname. They didn't know that we were related. It was that bad. We didn't talk at all. And then after that conversation, Okorede came to me and said, "Oh, is your sister?" Oh, yes. I said, you don't talk. I don't even know the content of the conversation, but you made me feel very bad.
Because I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I was shocked. Like, same church.
Yeah.
Then I found out that you guys were siblings. Like, you people are... I guess because when my dad left, my brothers were all we had.
Yeah.
We fight.
Yeah.
we threatened to kill one another. And this is the people close in age. You know, there was all the sibling tension and sibling rivalries. But
Your brother is your
they
brother.
were all that we had, right? So until tomorrow, it's one of the prayers in my, like, I have two boys like a year and a half apart. Like, Lord, make them friends.
Yeah.
Make them friends.
Yeah.
Like, let them have one another. Let them genuinely love one another. I know people will come into their lives, which is fine, but don't break them.
Yeah.
Let them have one another. Let them be old and have one another. Let them, I mean, destiny will take them, life will take them through different places and to do different things, but let them genuinely be assets to one another. And the thing to that is, especially when we are in the teenage years and in our early 20s, is when these shifts happen.
Yes.
When you start noticing that someone is selfish,
Yeah, exactly.
someone does not really care. I mean, whilst you can't work on the other person, I think it's important that as much as lies with you, be there for your siblings. You get give to them, sacrifice for your siblings. You know, do it without expecting anything in return. And then if you're then lucky to have spiritual siblings, pray together. So, you know, many times we get jaded. We just by our siblings and all that. But we need to really check that and use, you know, pull into our siblings, because that's like the first layer of relationship that God gives us, as much as lies with you. And people will come into our lives, they come with this new, you know, new stuff, but be there for your siblings. Try as much as possible to be the person that we can count on. People have different levels of generosity. One day, one of my brothers was analyzing, it was around the different kind of money he collects from people. So he said, when I want to splurge and I don't want anybody to, I don't want to have to explain to anybody, I just want someone that can just spoil me. I said, I can never call this. I can never call Holiday. I can never. This person I'll call is my splurging partner. He says, when I need something, that it's a need, add this one. He can sell his house to say, if I need, you know. So, of course, there are different temperaments like that, but we can cultivate something good with our siblings, knowing that that's the first layer of relationship, and it's based on respect. As you start to grow older, you have to lead with respect. You have to respect your siblings. And that's what gets people, especially with church guys, like, your pastor is 22, your elder brother is 27. He knows the way you carry your pastor. And some of these things we explain with Christianese. Your pastor is your man of God. Very good. Honor him. Remember from the first episode, there must be general honor. And it's from that general honor. If we don't have that general honor, then the honor you give to your man of God is suspect. It can't be good. Take it or leave it. If you cannot honor your roommates, and you are kneeling down for your man of God, you are suspect. You must be honorable.
Exactly.
And then you give honor at the different dimensions or the different contexts. So there's the honor you give to your parents. There's the honor you give to your siblings, elder and younger. There's the honor you give to your man of God and your priest and your prophet and all that. So you must be honorable across board. So I think that we need to do that. Don't get jaded. And one thing to also say is this, and when you grow older, things morph. Sometimes your best friend will not be your brother.
Very true.
And you can't force fit that. Not everybody have that privilege of saying, oh, the person I'm doing life with is my brother, or my closest friend is my brother. There's a friend that says closer than a brother, even the Bible says. But if you're dishonorable to your brothers and you're not intentional about them, most likely you'll be dishonorable to that friend. and you will not be intentional about that friend, because it's all brotherhood. Like the platform to even cultivate those friendships, those kingdom friendships, those real necessary friendships. When we'll talk about friendships in the next episode, the platform really is around valuing people, knowing that God instituted these relationships again to build out that excellent signature, which is you, right? So you have to do that. Another critical thing is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And when you talk about that, the people that hurt us the most
And the people that
are the closest people to us.
Yeah.
You've never really seen someone angry until he's angry with his brother. I'm not talking teenage anger, or his father,
mom,
or his mom.
sister.
I went through
her
years and years with my dad. Even being born again, being a pastor, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. Like, when my dad did something wrong, everything comes back
To that point.
to the old point. And then my brothers used to do this that then got me extra mad. They used to say, I got the best of my dad.
Yeah.
And that was so annoying. It used to break my heart.
Because you put it in
Because I went to a boarding house.
Yeah.
And most of them didn't even know the experience I had in the boarding house. Like, so it really messed up with me, because I didn't I can't explain it to you guys. It's almost like it's like people in prison arguing about someone had it better in prison. Like, okay, he paid my school fees, but I always went to school 3 weeks after we resumed. And I don't take provisions to school.
Yeah.
They didn't know how many times myself and my mom would go around Lagos Island visiting cousins and aunties, just greeting people. So that this one will give you 100, this one will give you 50, this one will give you 100. Then when they give me the 100, I'm say, okay, you need sandals, so yeah, let's quickly buy sandals. And then to be fairly used, and not even this, it's like, oh, you need this. And how that was where I learned contentment, because I knew how my mom was getting, like, raising the money. They didn't know all that. They didn't. It was like, what? You really want us to exchange it? Like, of course, I knew you had it hard, but I had it just as hard. So having to contend with that, and all that. Then, of course, you go through this round of forgiveness. I can't forget. And again, you kind of see how God uses all this again to reveal himself, to give you a life, to give you ministry, to give you all that, right? At 17, I remember vividly, I had a nervous breakdown. None of my brothers knew about it. I left our home and I was crying on the road. And I was just crying. And I was saying to myself, I can't remember if I was saying it out loud, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I mean, what gets a 17-year-old boy to say that? And I remember that I entered my spiritual parents' home and I was just shouting, I can't do it anymore. I can't, like, and thank God she was she was around, and she just pulled me in, sat me down. And that was the day she changed my life, because she said something to me. She said, you can't change your parent. You can't change your dad. Like, it's not, you can't. And you can't allow it to dictate your life also. That's the thing. Number one, you can't change it. It's not for you to. The Bible says every man will stand in front of the judgment throne of Christ. Like, he would.
Yeah.
He would. We all give account for how we've lived our lives. One, I can't change it. Two, I can't allow it to determine how my life comes out. That was the beginning.
I think that's where even a lot of us fall, is that becomes the biggest determinant of...
I can't even use it as a motivation.
Exactly.
No, I can't be Okonkwo.
Exactly.
I say, because my father did this, I'm going to show him. I'm going to succeed.
It then becomes a chip on your shoulder.
It becomes a chip on your shoulder. What it will do, and I think we have an episode called a chip on your shoulder. What it will do is it will drive you to success, but it will also bring you down.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be arrogant.
Yeah.
You'll be proud.
You'll be unkind. You'll be mean.
You'll be mean. You're not going to be a good father to your children.
Exactly.
You're either going to be too strict or you're going to be too permissive. It never works. the solution is put it on Jesus.
Exactly.
Put it on Jesus. And then God begins to bring people into your life that fills that gap. Recognize them.
Yeah.
You've got to. God never leaves us without a witness. He's going to bring people into your life. Recognize them.
I think that's where the friendship bit comes in. So even the friends he brings, the mentors,
the fathers,
father figures that he brings.
Like I had people come into my life that took responsibility for me.
Yeah.
Counseling.
Yeah, exactly.
Discipline.
So even God knows how to cover all those gaps.
He knows. So like so much so that I keep saying it. One day I was on my own. I said to the Lord, like I just got, when the Spirit is just bringing thoughts and you're like conversing with him, like, say, Baba, I don't go lie. If I'm a terrible husband, I cannot say it's because of my father. Like I had to, in my own quiet space, I had to confess that because he had done more than enough, showing me examples. And that's the beauty of also being planted in a local church.
Yeah.
That's one place you find all this. And you can actually pray for it. You can actually ask the Lord for it. Say, Lord, I need someone to guide me.
Yeah.
I need someone. Lead me to the person. Lead the person to me. If you don't see it, you get. And sometimes God will just open your eye to see that, man, Bolaji is near you. Uncle T is close to you. Pastor this is near you. Brother this is this. That guy in your office.
Exactly.
Like, you can have a parent in your office, and it's for you to then define it. So that intentionality has to be there. It doesn't matter. Like, even if your father was a good man, a time comes in your life when you have to be intentional to say, okay, this man has wisdom and I'm going to use it.
Exactly.
Like, I meet feminists and bitter feminists that have good fathers. Like, what is your problem?
What happened to you?
Like, who stole your bread?
You don't have a basis.
This is your fashion. What's your problem?
Exactly.
This is fashion. You just want to talk. You're just smart.
Philomongerism.
What's your problem? I've asked people. I said, wait. Your dad, my partner, and she's not a bitter feminist, but she was playing with friends. So I said to her,
she's touched with the feelings of their infirmities.
I said, I know your popsy.
Oh
your popsy is like a good man. And she knows when you talk about her dad, she gets teary. Like she will calm down. Like she's in love with her father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and her mom. Like, I said, so where did you say my auntie's husband? I said, something wrong with like,
it's by proxy.
Like this proxy war you are fighting, and all that. But a lot of people have that because they went through really, really terrible experiences, but God brings people.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to work hard to find those people. The point is once you leave that frame of there's no God here, this thing is but you realize that God is involved. God is my first dad and he knows me and everything I need is provided for. So like, Lord, okay, who's going to teach me? Who's going to do this? Okay, lead me to them. And then when you see those people, you get intentional about it. It can't be. When I saw Bray Ezekiel, the first day I saw him, I said, I'm going home with you. It was like Elijah casting disease on Elisha. And I don't follow you. This is I was 17, 18. I just kept going. I kept going. And I knew, funny enough, I knew what I was getting. I knew what I was getting. It wasn't about the money. Even though he gave me money, he cared for me, took care of me, gave me counsel. It was just security. I feel secure.
Like a lot of us are very casual.
Yeah.
We're very, maybe not even casual. We're very
superficial. People are superficial. I see young people come. I tell a young man recently, like, don't ask me for money again.
Because that's not why.
Like,
is that the
Like, don't ask me for money again. Like, sorry. Like, don't ask me. We've had conversation. I said, I'm not giving certain people money. Like, I said, no, it's not money the person needs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not money. Exactly. Sometimes you just need to sit around. Just be around.
Just be coming.
Just be in the. Just see another civilization.
Exactly.
You went to a place and you saw peace. You saw joy. You saw cooperation. You saw it the way your heart wants it. Why did you leave?
I'm telling you.
Say, please, can I sleep here? be bold enough to say, see, sir, ma, you guys have something. And I want it.
Yeah.
And it's not by laying of hands. I am going to commit myself to this. I'm going to be here. See, please. So, with the Olawalis, right? It got to a time they used to ask me, they don't ask me, am I going home? They just say, when they're about to go to bed, they just say, go and lock the door. So that locking the door might mean, okay, are
Either
you going home?
or you're staying.
And I didn't ask for a special bed to sleep on.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't counting the amount of meat they were eating and the one they were giving me.
This
all
is
those things.
nonsense sense of entitlement.
You just see people don't develop a sense of entitlement. And that's why the fatherhood of Jesus covers 80% of the ground. Then it's the remaining 20% you are using people to cover. And that's it. People can't be God to you. When the best thing someone can give to you is bring you to a relationship with Jesus. When someone gives you that,
a human dry.
Oh man dry. Oh Brian Martin. Oh man dry. If someone gives me, don't test me with Jesus. Once you give me Jesus, because I see this guy fulfills my heart. Even when there are gaps in my life, and he gives me hope. It gives me hope for the future. So I'm going to follow him, and then he's going to bring people in, and then I will recognize them. So we've spoken about parents. We've spoken about being hurt. We've spoken about siblings and utilizing them. Don't allow strife. Over simple things. Like he wore your boxers and he did not return it. That brother that wore your boxers is a man of God.
I'm telling you.
Or he's a tech G or he's something. And people outside used to praise him. That better be his biggest fan. Like giving to our siblings and all that. And we're saying in the absence of all this, which is the third thing we're saying, God. So we've said 4 things actually. 1, God is your father. That fatherhood. You don't have daddy issues. You have a consistent father. You have a consistent father. And that's faith. You've got to believe that. Especially for those who have a relationship with Jesus. And if you don't, that's the first missing gap, really. And then number 2 is in our earthly parent, many times our parents are flawed. And we've got to recognize that. And they leave a very bad taste for us. And you've got to heal from that.
Put it on him. I can't forget what you said. Take care of all of those experiences.
Every gap, everything they did wrong and what they didn't do right, the omissions, the commissions, everything. You've got to load that on a truck and put it on that Heavenly Father's bill.
Exactly.
He will take care of it. The number 3 is your siblings. Do well to recognize them.
Exactly.
Be good to them. Be the good sibling. One of my brothers was getting married and it really caused a big commotion in the family. And for the first time, 5 boys gathered together and were discussing. It's like 5 men, weren't boys, were men with kids and all that. And people were tearing up, were screaming at each other, and calling each other names. But for the first time in my life, and I mean, the second time actually, I realized man, these guys, we love each other. Yes, we can be aggressive, but we do love each other. And that day I made up my mind, I am always going to bring everybody together. I'm not going to be in any argument. It's not necessary. There are different egos in the room, there are all that, but I just decided to be a voice of reason. And to a large extent, I've tried to do that, right? I'm not going to, there's no one of my brothers that I'm having fights with. I'm not interested. So recognize your siblings and pour into them. Also utilize them. Use your brothers.
They're a great resource from God.
They are your gift. They are your first gift. Take care of one another. That's important. And the third thing we've said is, the fourth thing, you might not have that, but God will raise people for you. Recognize them. Utilize them. Sometimes your father might not be your biological father. It might be that mentor in the office. My mentor, and that was who he was. And when I was traveling, so we did a dinner. And the dinner, we just called people together. And you could tell most of those people came from work. It was half from church, 40% from church, 60% from work. And these were people that he wasn't mentoring just on the job. People had issues with their mom. They are waiting. They're hurrying to go to work on Monday because they're going to see Ezekiel. They're going to tell him about it. He's going to pull them aside and counsel them around them. So he became a father even at work. Some of us will find the person at work. Some of us will find the person in our local assemblies, which is one of the reasons why we have local assemblies. One of the reasons for local is this relationship.
I said there's a way Pierre said it one day, is that God's original intention was that the family unit would continue or establish his plans and purposes on earth. But because the world is a fallen world,
Yeah.
the devil is on a rampage, sin is, there and all of that. That whole family unit system, there's a lot of mess there.
Yeah.
So then God crafted another family unit system, which is the local assembly, and these small units and relationships and cells and things that we have.
Yeah.
So if we ought to utilize that as,
So honestly, the way it ought to be is it's supposed to be a sandwich, right? The family units ought to be the units in the local assembly.
okay.
So that's God's plan, actually. Is that me, you, our kids, we're a cell in the church. You get if I do parenting right, my children should not be eager to leave the church.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
If I do parenting right, and I do the word right, both of them will merge.
Yeah.
Where they're saying that there's no difference between what we're saying, what PS is saying, or what their Sunday school teachers are saying, and what they are
Saying at home.
and what is being practiced in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's another conversation for another day. When someone now raise one revelation, like, you remember my son tells me that someone is his spiritual father, I'll just die that day. Like, God, I'm going home.
Oh my God.
I'm going home. Like, no, the day
Is this not a complex?
it's not, whether it's a complex or not, it's a good complex. The day Orefe comes and says, one man laid hands on me and then I received an impartation. Now I'm called to
impartations from people
He
now.
can get impartation, but fatherhood,
It's reserved for you.
it's my job. Are you okay? Someone just come from nowhere and say, is this school that Jesus told me to send him to? Do you understand? Like, am I a scholarship board and welfare state?
Oh my God.
That's what we've turned parenting to, scholarship and welfare.
Yeah.
Where we're like United States government,
Yeah.
give me welfare checks monthly so that they get fed, and then scholarship, uni scholarship, was a school student loan, and it goes to school, and then when it's done, when I'm old and I'm useless and I don't have power, then he will now pay me back by feeding me. Nah, that's not the plan for my life. I'll take care of myself. Thank you. I'll still be boiling when I'm going out. You can give me one or two things to go on vacation with your mom, but it won't mean that you go fiercely. Why must you get back? That kind of thing. But it's that spiritual substance that I owe them, and all that. And again, that's that. But you need to recognize those people. Then be intentional about those people. Go there for the main thing.
Yeah.
It's not the food.
For the main thing or the money.
It's not the food. It's not the money. You guys, for life, it's for perspective.
Yeah.
Those guys should prepare. The thing your father was supposed to do is what
exactly.
they're. Most of us don't even know what our dads were supposed to do.
Exactly.
I didn't know my father was supposed to prepare me for marriage, prepare me for work,
For life.
prepare me for politics in the office space. Those are the conversations we should have with our father. Like, Daddy, Ogami confess by me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what you would do. In 1984.
You remember that? I just remember this show that we're watching, Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah.
That's his father's friend that he always used to go and meet.
That's it. It's fatherhood or parenting or the family relationship should be all encompassing.
Exactly.
So imagine I have a brother that gives me this. I have a sister that gives me this. In our family, we should know a prophetess. Because our family is supposed to be like a local unit, a cell unit.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be both natural and spiritual. This thing, I don't agree. And we can't continue like that where we feel like it's just natural, then you find your spiritual family somewhere. It's because the natural families did not do the function
true.
and they didn't come into that will of God the way they ought to.
True.
If love is in the house, if joy is in the house, if my kids are bringing broken children home because they know that, come to my house. So come to my house. My father, let my father just, me, I don't lay hands on you, but my father needs to give you wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, how come
that's one of my dreams.
Yes,
That's one of my personal dreams.
like, let me just go and see 10 children. We're going to have a revival service. Raise up your hand. Take it. That's the joy. But recognize those people and give to those people. I think we've had a blast today. I think it's been a beautiful conversation. A bit heavy, right? Somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah,
but very good.
Yeah, it's family issues. EUs. We love you.
We'll never stop. King
We can, yeah. That's it. Now, I'm back to my voice now.
Hey, God have mercy. I told you that when it's enter body, you will switch zone. Now
This
you're
body, you see it that way. You know the song that's coming to my mind. She said it.
Oh my God.
But we love you.
Thank you
for
so much for
listening.
joining.
Please, this
conversation.
podcast like pills. There are people you need to
Prescribe.
prescribe it. Like I need to listen to episode 2, season
Yeah.
2, season 3, episode 2.
After you have prescribed to yourself, because there's how we used to listen. We used to listen for other people. After you have been blessed by it and impacted by it, then
Yeah, so do well to share with your friends, your enemies. If you can share with your enemies, 10
that would
points.
be great.
Share with your friends, 5 points. Till we come to you again. God bless you.
Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week.
Peace out.
So enjoy.